Hello everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you're doing great. I hope that all is well in your world. You know, creativity is a topic that I'm always interested in talking about. I think when I describe myself, I always use that word to, as a descriptor. I think that creativity is the spark that keeps us, alive and thoughtful and young in our minds and our activities. And just, being able to take a situation and turn it around with a simple, new way of looking at something. Creativity is the fuel, I think, for innovation. But I want to talk to you today, an article based on Jan Moore, one of our bloggers, wrote this, and it stimulated me to think about creativity in a brand new way. And particularly because I have grandkids who I spend a lot of time with now, and they are the masters of creativity. They are able to come up with new ideas and new ways of doing things in a way that I could never think of. But in fact, Jan starts her article by talking about a research project, which I think you're going to find really fascinating. And I read this several years ago, but she brought it back and kind of went through it in detail. And basically what it was is that NASA, space agency in the United States, decided they were going to look for creative people. This was their mission to think outside the box and to have innovators in the organization. So they had a survey that they put together. This is in 1969, long time ago. And they actually put this test together, a quiz, and asked people to answer it. And they found out, they gave it to people of all ages, including children. And they gave it to, I think, 1,600 5-year-olds, as well as adults who were applying for work at NASA. And it turned out that, in looking for clues to creativity, of the 5-year-old group, 98% scored genius, creative genius, 5-year-olds. Now, I have a 5-year-old grandson, so I know this is potentially true. I mean, it's just in terms of creativity and ability to imagine and see things in new angles, new perspectives, they are brilliant. But yeah, 98% of the children that took this test scored as creative geniuses. And I think it was, I can't remember the number of people that were, the adults, but it was a low number. Now, the same children, they were so fascinated by this, the same children were tested 5 years later when they were age 10, and only, guess the percentage that were scoring as creative geniuses. It was 98% when they were 5, 30% when they were 10, 30%. And at age 15, they interviewed the same kids, 12%. Their creative genius potential went down from 98% to 12 when they were 15 years of old. And as adults, they tested adults 28 years and plus, and they had 2% scoring as geniuses, just 2. So this is incredible and it raises lots of questions. I mean, of course, I think we understand why children are so creative, because their minds are not wired. They're not wired to any, sort of structure that says, yes, this is true and this is not, this is good and this is not. They're just completely there. But the analysis, of course, that Jan talks about is when they went to school, what happened? Where was creative thinking either discouraged or pressed down or just evaporated? What happened? And they discovered, of course, what we all know, that in school, most schools, the classic schools around the world, children are rewarded for learning facts and then repeating them on standardized tests. That's how you measure a person's success in school. And they have like these policies and procedures, documents that some invisible, some socially, sort of structured, and some just happen as you want to get on in the world. So you have to follow these procedures, and you have to read a script almost. It's like a script. It reminded me, actually, I made a note here when I was just thinking about this topic. When I was in Detroit, when I was, I think, 18 years old, and I was working, I think it was one of my first jobs. I think my first job was in a pizza place, pizza parlor, but the second was, in Sears Roebuck, and I worked in the customer service department, and my job was to answer the phone and to take people's complaints about their washing machines or about their home appliances. And this is going to sound random, but trust me, stay with me here. So they gave us a book, and it was like the book of words, and it was like whatever someone said, you could read, you could turn the page and you could read from the script. And that's how I learned that skill. I wasn't to be creative, like, why didn't you try this, or did you think of that? That wasn't my job. And so when somebody would get cross with me, turn the page, I would say, excuse me, but I'm not trained to take that kind of verbal abuse. Would you like to speak with my supervisor? That was in the book. And so this is the point I'm making, of course, is that creativity in the workplace and in school is discouraged. And so then when you get older, you don't have that muscle, you don't think creatively. I mean, we do as we get older. I think we sort of say, well, forget that. I'm going to do things my way. But you think about some of the great people, well, I say great people who have done and accomplished amazing things. Don't know what they're like in their personal lives, but people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Richard Branson. They all, well, guys, by the way, men, they actually went on to form companies that changed the world of creativity. Think about Steve Jobs and the iPhone and well, mobile phones in general. But these people dropped out of school. They didn't fit in that mold. And so anyway, to go back to the article that Jan was talking about, she said that in 1969, this person called, I think it was Professor Land, came up with this concept of two types of thinking. There's the convergent thinking, which is the conscious mind, and where we're taking ideas, we're judging them, we're criticizing them, and we're kind of improving on them. And then that's the conscious mind, that's our functional mind. And then the second kind of thinking is divergent thinking. And this is where kind of the subconscious mind is at work. And this is where you're thinking like, what are the options? I mean, what is the creative way to solve this problem? There's the basic way, there's the divergent, the convergent way, which is bring it all together, look at all the ideas, best plan. And this is the other one, which is like out there imagining new ideas, new creative approaches, and let's just create something that's different, different than anything that we've ever done. Let's just make something completely new. And that is creativity. And this is the essence of brainstorming. And it's like the opposite of we can't do that. It's the opposite of, well, we can do that. And I remember, in fact, another personal situation was when we were launching, I was at Microsoft and we were launching Windows 95. And that was like a really chaotic time in so many ways with technology, because there was so many different divergent ideas. And, we actually used to have brainstorming meetings where we would just encourage people to just think completely outside the box. Like, what's the craziest thing you can think of for marketing, for selling, for positioning Windows as opposed to any other option? Because in a way, it was very, think about it. I mean, how computers used to be designed and the interface, and then Windows came along with this whole new idea, the start button, and how you would go from a start position to the world of computing. Anywho, it's a very interesting thing. So how do we rekindle our creativity? Are you a creative person? Would you say that you've gotten more creative or less creative as you have got older? I'm very, very curious about this, because I have a theory that a lot of older women are much more creative now than when they were in their teenage years, or in their years when they were taking, or maybe have children and putting them through a school system that you really had to support. I mean, it was like black and white. Study for the test, take the test, get the recognition, the award, get the degree. But are you more creative now? I'm very curious, but I mean, how are some ways you can unlock, first of all, meditation? I'm a big believer in meditation. I think it can take you places that you've never been. And if you actually look at some of the corporations now, Google, Nike, other companies, they're using meditation in their workplace. In fact, I think I did a session at Microsoft. They asked me to do one. This is like 20 years ago. And, it was just to get the mind into the place where creativity could nurture and start to grow. Art can be a form of meditation. Jan, the woman who wrote this article, is an artist, and that's one of her strengths, is creating pots and art and designs is part of the process of letting the mind slip to another dimension. Art therapy is really used a lot with children, particularly who are dealing with mental health issues and other things like autism and so on. Art therapy is a healing tool. And, and as Jan says in her article, don't have to even try to do it for creative process, just do it for its own good, because it makes you feel expansive and, fuels your passion and your excitement and your joy for life. I actually sit sometimes just with a pen and one of these marker pads that you can erase and just scribble, and it just, while I'm doing that, I can then switch my mind to more creative processes. And a thought that was like I was holding back on or not making a decision would pop in, and it just helped. So what do you think of yourself as, would you think of yourself as a creative person or not? I'm really curious. Tell me, tell us. Share your comments in the section below. If you did like this video, please do me a favor. Would you please subscribe to this channel and let me know that you enjoy it, and share with other women. And if you enjoyed this video, just like it. But we have a subscription, or you can get notified so that when videos go up, you can be informed. I do 4 videos every week. So this is just one of many, and lots of topics, all kinds of things related to everything from health and well-being to financial security, health and beauty, fashion, makeup. We do just about everything here, anything that you want. So if you've got topics that I think we haven't covered, please let me know, and we'll make sure that we cover that. But thank you again for being here from the bottom of my heart. I love you all so much, and you know this. I'm here for you. We're here for each other. And again, thank you so much for all your wonderful support. Take good care. Bye-bye for now.